Your live interactive Weather Authority coverage will begin shortly. Your live interactive Weather Authority coverage will begin shortly. Your live Weather Authority coverage starts right now.
Hello, everybody. I hope you guys are all having a great weekend. We had certainly a cool weekend, but nothing, of course, unfamiliar. So far this month, it's been so cold throughout the month of December, and we are looking at increasing clouds across the area now. We are going to continue to see these clouds increase as we head through the next couple hours before, yes, some freezing rain develops after midnight. That will really develop from about 12 a.m. through 4 o'clock in the morning. That's when most areas will start to see their first rounds of freezing rain, maybe some sleet mixing in, some snow in areas as well. It'll move in from the southwest to the north and east. So let's pull up the Portland sky cam, and right now we are looking at 25 degrees. This is saying clear skies, but I would say we're looking at a little bit more in the way of clouds out there right now. But we are looking at, again, temperatures certainly below the freezing mark right now. We are going to see the clouds move in as we head through the next couple hours and continue to lower and thicken. And again, it's around or after midnight that a lot of places will start to see their first rounds of precipitation move on in. Now, before I get into the forecast, I already made a Facebook post about it, but I just want to reiterate it one more time. Anybody that was watching the Eagles Bills game and we had a cut in, there was a mistake that occurred. And the mistake was it essentially played a cut-in that we aired last weekend. So my forecast was inaccurate. I was talking about snow on Tuesday. That is not going to be the case. We are talking ice for the daytime tomorrow, but unfortunately it was out of my control, and I have to just move on. So let's continue to move on with this forecast. And you can see that we are looking at a storm system that is in the Great Lakes region right now, in areas of over towards the Ohio Valley, looking at some severe weather. There was a tornado watch, some tornado warnings over towards parts of Indiana right now. And you can see that we are looking at also some freezing rain in some spots over towards New York and parts of Connecticut, Vermont, moving into Vermont right now. And we can actually zoom in a little bit closer to that area. And give me 1 second. And let's do that. So we have a lot of this pink shading that you see. That is a mixture of, sleet and freezing rain, but mostly freezing rain. The light pink shading is the freezing rain over towards areas in, say, central Vermont. You can see some of the light snow, and the purple shading, that's kind of more so indicating more so sleet and snow, but the pink shading is where we have the freezing rain. And you can see there's plenty of it over towards parts of central New York. It is going to continue to move in closer to our area as we head through the next couple hours, but we are going to stay dry through about midnight, and we can zoom in a little bit closer to the state. And again, you can see the clouds are moving in, but we are looking at dry conditions right now. So that is some good news. Any plans to head outside, hit the roads for the next couple hours, we are looking good. Temperatures are below the freezing mark for just about everybody, if not actually really the entire state. We have dropped into the 20s for the York, Cumberland County area. We can zoom in a little bit closer, pick out some towns. We are looking at 25 degrees in Kennebunk, over towards Standish, temperature of 22 degrees. Naples coming in about 25 right now. And then we head up towards the mid-coast. That is where we are looking at temperatures right now, running in the teens and 20s. A little bit colder over towards Whitefield. Head up towards Augusta. We are looking at a temperature of 28 degrees right now, as well as Turner. And then down towards the coastline, we are looking at temperatures running right around that 20-degree mark. Now let's head up towards the north. Again, heading out this evening, we're looking good for the next couple hours. Temperatures running in the teens up towards Rangeley, 18 degrees in Carrabassett Valley, over towards Weld, and then you head down towards Denmark, temperatures running in the lower 20s. But here's your planner as we head through the evening. Now, again, midnight, if you are in York, if you are in Kittery, if you are in Sanford, if you're really in the southern and western parts of the state, over especially towards York County, you may start to see some of this precip move in during the midnight hour, which I do think will occur. But especially after midnight is when most areas will start to see the freezing rain develop. And we are going to, again, see accumulating freezing rain as we head into the morning hours tomorrow. So this is something to watch very closely. If you have to step outside during the morning hours tomorrow, give yourself some extra time. There's a pretty good chance that you are going to be scraping off some ice from your car from many spots as we head through the morning hours on Monday. Here's a look at your temperatures for tonight. Most of these temperatures are actually going to occur in the next hour or so. I could actually see these temperatures increasing a little bit as the storm system moves a little bit closer. The clouds will start to roll in as well. And here's your forecast for the daytime tomorrow. A wintry mix during the morning hours. It looks like we will, however, see that slow transition over to rain for many spots, but I don't think everybody's going to see plain rain for the daytime tomorrow. So we'll talk more about that. Let's first talk about the watches and warnings out there. And the pink shading you see over towards central New York, and you can see that we do have a winter storm warning, and this is for this area right here. It doesn't include Oxford County, but that is where we are expecting potentially the most freezing rain out of this system. This is an area we have to watch very closely. The purple shading up towards parts of Vermont is the ice storm warning. And then most of us, Portland, Lewiston, Augusta, Bangor, we have a winter weather advisory, and we are still going to see the potential for some ice to accumulate in these areas. And I'll go into more details on that in just a second, but also the chance for a little bit of sleet to mix in, maybe some snow here and there as well. So let's time this out as we head through the nighttime tonight after about the midnight hour. As I was mentioning, here we go. This is the pink indicating the freezing rain. And of course, we have a little bit of snow, some sleet mixing in as well. But I've been saying through this weekend that the computer models just are having a very tough time indicating what is freezing rain, what is sleet, what is plain rain, and what is snow. So the idea here is, as we head through the midnight hour, the precip moves in. I think it moves in for most areas. It's freezing rain to start, and it could be freezing rain for several hours for many spots. As you head up towards the north, probably a little bit of sleet mixing in, maybe some snowflakes as you head up towards the northern mountains. But you can see at 2:30 in the morning, again, this computer model is just a little bit confused, if I'm being totally honest. I would say most areas from the Portland area north is looking at freezing rain still. And this is showing a lot of blue indicating snow. Again, computer model is just having a tough time indicating, the freezing rain potential through the overnight hours and into tomorrow morning. I could see areas down towards York County, especially by the time we get to about 5, 6 o'clock, looking at just plain rain. And then eventually this rain is going to slowly move on north. Now, by the time we get to 6 o'clock in the morning, I want to highlight areas, not really including the immediate coastline, but these areas in particular. This is where I still think, 5, 6 o'clock, we're still looking at some freezing rain. So especially north and west of the Sebago Lake area, by the time we get to 6 o'clock in the morning, again, I think we could be looking at some rainfall, plain rain down towards the immediate coastline. So again, still allow yourself some extra time if you're down towards Portland or maybe Westbrook or places like that, York County as well. And then 10 o'clock in the morning, I would say a lot of us have transitioned to rain from Augusta down through the Portland area, but I'm still going to highlight where you can see some of this pink shading right in here. In this area, we could still be looking at some freezing rain. Not everybody in this area is going to be looking at freezing rain, but some of those deeper valleys hold on to the colder air a little bit more. That being said, we are going to still run the potential for some freezing rain in this highlighted area around 9, 10 o'clock, even 11 o'clock in the morning. And it could continue in these spots as we head through the afternoon as well. By the time we get to 1, 2 o'clock, again, a lot of places south looking at plain rain. We are still looking at the chance for a little bit of mix for areas inland, and then some light snow to end this storm system. That's where I think most of the snowfall accumulation will be. It's not going to be much, but 1, 2 inches, a couple more as you head up towards the north. A lot of this may actually occur as the cold front swings by, the colder air wraps in behind this storm system, and we could see some snow showers and periods of snow to end out up towards the mountains as we head into Monday evening. Most of us are drying out and clearing out, and then a very cold day, windy as well for the day on Tuesday. And I'll go also into details on that. So here's our ice map as we head through the daytime tomorrow. We are going to see up to 1/10 of an inch from the Bangor area down through most of the mid-coast. Portland, you're right around the edge of that, 1/10 of an inch. I could see Portland area getting about a 1/10 of an inch. You head up towards Lewiston, you're between about 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch. This includes areas like Rangeley as well. And then you head over in the dark shading, and Charlie and I were talking too about this, specifically areas north and west of Sebago Lake could certainly be looking at 1/4 to 1/2 an inch plus. I have that plus there because I do think there's going to be isolated amounts that could see a little bit over a half an inch of ice if you are in that dark shading. And I will highlight this area as I did just a little bit ago. Again, not everybody that I'm circling right now is going to get over a half inch of ice, but I'm highlighting this spot in particular that you could be looking at, a little bit more than a half inch of ice. That's where I think the best chance is for at least some areas to see that. So it's something to keep a very close eye on. Power outages are certainly a possibility as we head through the morning and into the early afternoon hours tomorrow. We could be looking at some power outages in spots, especially some of those areas that see a quarter to a half an inch of ice. It will build up on the power lines. It'll build up on the trees. And, especially roads that haven't been treated could certainly cause some slick spots on the roadways as well. So we are watching those areas very closely. But most areas, by the time we get to, down towards the coastline, you can see most areas down in the far southern part of the state we'll see plain rain as we head to the mid, especially late morning hours. So a lot of that ice will probably just kind of like melt away as we head down towards the coastline. But we're also looking at a little bit of snow, and we could be looking at, a coating to an inch or two up towards Lewiston, Augusta, Bangor, Freiburg as well. You head up towards the far north, there could be upwards of 2 to 4 inches from really the Greenville, Jackman area north. And then you head up towards Aroostook County, even a little bit more than that. And then also areas like the White Mountains, the Green Mountains of Vermont could see a little bit more. And again, we're going to see maybe some snow overnight tonight in these areas, and then it could transition over to a wintry mix and then transition back to snow in some of these spots. So you could be looking at a situation where you get a half inch or an inch of snow up towards the mountains overnight tonight, but then, it kind of washes away a lot of it during the daytime on Monday before another 1-2 inches of snow up towards the north moves in as we head into Monday evening and Monday night. Again, not a big deal. This is very, very little bit of snow, of course. It's the ice that we are, of course, watching very, very closely. Another thing, though, that is of note is the cold temperatures on Tuesday. We are going to see our high temperatures overnight Monday into Tuesday. This is the 2 p.m. wind chill on Tuesday, and we are talking wind chills around 0 degrees for many areas and well below zero up towards the north. We're going to see wind gusts upwards of 30, 35, maybe even an isolated 40-mile-per-hour wind gust with temperatures in the teens to maybe near 20, but I would say most of us will be in the teens during the afternoon hours on Tuesday. It's going to be very cold. You might look at your weather app and see, the temperature is going to be 23 or 24 degrees for the day on Tuesday. Yeah, that occurs overnight, like when you're sleeping. As you head into the afternoon, temperatures on Tuesday are likely only going to be in the teens. So that is something to watch, again, very closely. Not very closely, I shouldn't say that. But you can see it's going to be very cold, even into the nighttime. You wake up Wednesday morning, and we are going to see the winds calm down. So of course, wind chills won't be as bad. We'll go to the 7-day forecast, and I'll end out with some people just tuning in. I'll end out with the ice accumulation forecast. I'm getting some reports of that, but I want to show you guys the 7-day forecast here. We have that weather warning up for the freezing rain for the daytime tomorrow, during the morning in particular, overnight into the morning hours on Monday. I think the coastline will eventually transition to rain by the mid to maybe late morning hours for the day on Monday, but could still certainly see some ice accumulation if you are heading out early in the day on Monday down towards the coastline. We are going to see a windy, cold day on Tuesday. Again, technically the high temperatures in the 20s, but I think most of the afternoon will actually be in the teens. New Year's Eve and New Year's Day look pretty good. I think there's a chance for a snow shower Wednesday night. A cold front's going to pass through. You can see what it does to our temperatures for New Year's Day and and then Friday. Temperatures only running in the 20s, and that continues into the weekend as well. So it is going to be very cold behind that cold front on Wednesday evening and Wednesday night, but maybe we'll bring in the New Year's with a snow shower in some spots. It looks like that'll be the case. All right, so areas inland, we will see that wintry mix during the morning, especially the freezing rain. That is, of course, what we are watching the most. And then we are going to see, again, a lot of areas transition over to plain rain. Just keep a very close eye on the air temperature. If you have a temperature gauge at home, keep an eye on the temperature gauge. If it's 32 or 31 or 30 degrees and it's raining out, it's very likely just sticking right to the roadways as ice. So keep an eye on the temperatures. If you don't have a temperature thermometer or whatever for your house or wherever you are, I would just keep an eye to maybe the apps or anything just to keep an eye on the temperature, because anytime the temperature is near that freezing mark or below, of course, it can be very slippery. So that is something to keep a close eye on. And then I'll finish out with some of the comments here and talk about the ice potential. Let me just go back to this graphic. and I can pull it up right now. All right, so this is the ice potential as we head through again. This is tonight after midnight through the morning, in particular on Monday. Tomorrow, we are going to see areas down towards, the coastal areas, probably upwards of a tenth of an inch. Not everybody will see it. If you wake up at 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, so you have the day off, for example, like myself, if you're not going anywhere, you may wake up at 9, 10 o'clock in the morning and not have any ice on the ground down towards the coastline because it may have already transitioned over to plain rain. And then for areas inland, this is Lewiston. I'm getting some comments. For example, Cheryl tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. Gorham, a lot of places away from the coastline. So Westbrook, Gorham, places like that probably see between a tenth and a quarter of an inch of ice. So that's probably enough to certainly cause some slick spots, but also we are going to see the potential for maybe some power outages. I think the best chance for power outages will certainly be as you head up towards the north and west of Sebago Lake for the daytime tomorrow. Then Debbie, I think it's a closure day tomorrow. Yeah, you never know. Well, although kids aren't they still on vacation? So I guess that's one thing that's good is we aren't probably looking at any. We're not going to look at any school closings. So that is some good news. And then Lewiston, Wendy, hello to you. We are looking at probably the Lewiston area, a quarter or tenth to a quarter of an inch. And Hope, hello to you from South Paris. You guys are kind of on that line. I could see you getting upwards of a quarter of an inch down towards the South Paris area. And I'm getting, Wendy, I just pulled you up. I got to be honest with you. Some of these towns I have to look up to find exactly where they are. And we got somebody tuning in from Lebanon, New Hampshire. Interesting. Hello to you, Gabe. I assume this is Lebanon. I don't know if there's a Lebanon, Vermont, or Maine, but I'm going to assume you're talking about New Hampshire. And this is where, yes, areas over towards central New Hampshire could certainly see a quarter to a half inch of ice for the nighttime tonight and into the day on Monday. Connor, hello to you. Wind gusts on Tuesday. Wind gusts probably 30, 35 miles per hour. Temperatures in the teens. That is the day you bring the hat, the gloves, the scarf, the winter coat, the thickest winter coat you have. It is certainly going to be a cold one for the day on Tuesday. And then we are going to see, again, temperatures only running in the teens, but the single numbers and below zero wind chills during the afternoon. Shapley, you guys, I would say Shapley, you're more so around. I can see like around a tenth of an inch of precipitation, or not precip. I could see areas like Shapley. You guys are right on the edge. I would say you're a tenth to at least a quarter of an inch. So it's something to watch for the Shapley area. Again, areas like Sanford points north over towards Sebago Lake and Oxford County in particular could certainly see a quarter to a half inch or more for many areas. So what else do we have? This is one in Maine by Sanford. So if you're asking about Sanford for the ice, you're right on that line. I could see you getting upwards of a 2/10 of an inch of ice. So certainly going to get a lot of ice for some areas for the daytime tomorrow. And Farmington, Connor coming in again with Farmington. I would say you're upwards of a quarter of an inch in Farmington. Some of the computer models are indicating areas like that could see even more than that, maybe upwards of a quarter to a half an inch. So this is something to watch. And then Klein, hello to you. Carrabassett, the valleys, Carrabassett Valley, I would say you guys are not in the thick of it. I would say you're in a quarter to a tenth of an inch of ice for the Carrabassett Valley area. And then another question, Christine coming in from Auburn. Again, Lewiston, Auburn, you are a tenth to a quarter of an inch. It's over areas north and west of Sebago Lake through Freiburg and the central part of Vermont that we are going to see upwards of a quarter to a half an inch of ice, and there is going to be isolated spots that see even more than that. So expect, especially in those areas, the potential for some power outages and just very slippery travel as we head through the Monday morning time frame. I wish I could get to all your comments, but we are going to put a pause there, and I will see you guys again tonight at 10 and 11 o'clock. I hope Travis coming in talking about a generator. Good. If you have a generator, get the gas in it. You never know. We could certainly be looking at some power outages. And then I do want to get to one more question. Davian from Booth Bay. Booth Bay, I want to talk about this in particular. I don't think you guys along the mid-coast are going to see much. You might get a glaze in some spots down towards the mid-coast. I think many areas, especially, from central and, eastern or the western part of the mid-coast, so to speak, over towards Brunswick, for example, you may see a glaze a little bit more up to a tenth of an inch. But from Rockland points east over towards Bar Harbor, I don't think you're getting much. So we're not looking at too much down towards most of the mid-coast, and a lot of that is just going to melt away as the temperatures rise into the 30s and maybe even near 40 degrees. All right, so everybody, again, just be careful. Give yourself some extra time for the daytime tomorrow. This is going to be a slick commute for some spots, so just, again, be careful, and hope you guys have a great end to your weekend and a great upcoming week. All right, everyone, have a good one.